Hey everyone, Brian Buckosh here, core design engineer with Brunswick Bowling, and today I'm here to talk to you about the newest star in the Ebonite lineup. It's the Polaris. Let's take it to the intro. This Polaris has already been on shelves for a little while, but I didn't want to skip over it in my video series because although this one might be a little bit of a sleeper in terms of total sales, this one is definitely no sleeper. It is the cream of the crop in terms of total ball performance. It is easily the strongest ball, especially off the end of the pattern, that Ebonite has ever made. It's new inside and out with a new version of the GSV cover and the new inner core, the Polaris inner core. Let's start here with the Polaris inner core. You'll notice that it has some familiar traits because the upper cap is modeled after the predecessor, which was the Aero series with the Aero Solid and the Aerodynamics, which was a polished hybrid. But this strong sanded ball now has this new Polaris core where we've replaced the stem with a density cap. That high density cap takes the mass away from the center of the ball and means that it's going to give you more downlane motion and more downlane continuation. The total numbers on this ball are 0.48 total differential, which is down just a little bit from the Aero, which means that it's not going to hook at your toes. And the asymmetric differential, which is typically responsible for the shape at the back of the pattern or the overall sharpness of the ball, is up to 0.018 on this ball, which is a fairly large increase over the previous Aero series. What this means is that this ball is going to get down the lane just a little better, but not a ton better. Because of its solid sanded cover, it's not going to be a naturally clean ball in general, but when it does see the friction, it's going to get off of it with more strength and more continuation than you've ever seen in the Aero line. Of course, this ball has some fancy features, including dot and dynamic core. Dot is the circle engraved dot that you see where you expect the pin to be. The pin is at the bottom of the ball, which means that you can put any layout on this ball that you want, and you can drill through the dot without drilling through the pin and voiding the warranty. And dynamic core, which is blue stuff that you see when you drill into the outer core. That's a higher strength to weight ratio material than the original white material that was used on previous Ebonite balls. This blue material means that it's not going to compress when it goes through the pins, and that translates into better hitting power and better carry percentage when it goes through the pins. All of this is surrounded by the new GSV3 cover stock. That's a step up from the GSVX that was on the original Aero series. And that is the strongest, without a doubt, cover that we've ever put on an Ebonite ball. This one's going to be stronger in the mid lane, in part due to its new cover, but also because of the fact that its 500-1500 grit sanded finish is highly aggressive to give you all the teeth you need to dig through even the heaviest of oil. So without delay, I'm going to take you to a comparison chart and show you how this Polaris stacks up with the rest of the Ebonite lineup. I'm going to give you a hint: it hooks. This chart contains every release in the Ebonite lineup for an entire year. They're sorted by oil volume on the bottom, from the lightest oil on the left to the heaviest of oil volumes that the ball is designed for on the right, and by response to friction, with the sharpest responding balls toward the top of the chart and the smoothest, most predictably responding balls toward the bottom of the chart. Our newest release, Polaris, is highlighted in yellow. It should come as no shock for you guys that the Polaris is built to handle the heaviest amount of oil volumes and sits in the strong category of ball motion. My chart here says September, even though we're far past that, so apologies, I'm trying to play a little bit of catch up with my videos. The Polaris is a little bit stronger and has just a little bit more board coverage than its predecessor, the Aero Solid. You'll notice that the Aero Solid's off the chart now because it's been over a year, so it was time for an upgrade. The Polaris has that bottom radial disc that has a high density. That's going to help it continue. So compared to a like-drilled Aero, this one's going to cover a few more boards from the mid lane onto the back end. And it's going to be just overall a little more continuous and a little more back end motion than you would get out of your Aero. This one, in my opinion, even though it is technically stronger, is going to be a little more versatile because it shapes at the back of the lane. It's going to be a little less forward, and I think that you can get it to shape on the back of the lane a little better on a wider variety of patterns, where the Aero started in the mid lane about as strongly, but maybe didn't have the back end motion to help it continue. Typically high rev bowlers, two-handed bowlers, or bowlers that don't see a lot of oil volume can't use a ball this strong, but I think that if you have enough oil in the fronts It doesn't really matter if you have oil on the outsides, oil down lane or not, because this ball is going to shape on the back of the lane better than those typical asymmetrical balls that tend to read the mids and get too forward on patterns that have a lot of friction on the back of the lane. You'll notice that Polaris has a little gap to some of the other balls that you can downshift to, but overall shape-wise it's going to be nice and predictable, meaning that if you need just a little less ball overall, a little smoother transition, a switch down to the GB4 is going to be no problem. And of course, if you need a little more length and a little more shape, you can stand in a similar part of the lane or back it out just a little bit with your aerodynamics and get the ball through the fronts quite a bit better, I mean feet better, than the Polaris, and watch the aerodynamics recover a lot harder on the back of the lane. And of course, if all of these balls are a little too strong for you, a step down to your Game Breaker Asim or the Stinger or Puma series is going to easily help you round out your block. All told, this is a very versatile lineup that Ebonite has out right now. That's all the information I have on this strong and predictable Polaris, available in pro shops as we're sitting here right now. Make sure you swing by your local pro shop and grab one. It's been out for a little while now, so if you already have one, let me know how you think about it. Feel free to drop me a comment, and I'm happy to respond whenever I can. Like and subscribe to YouTube and Facebook, Bowling Buckosh. I make new videos as new releases from the brands of Brunswick come out, so make sure you check back often. And until next time, thanks for watching.